students with the same dream of becoming a doctor. One have access to high-quality school, private tuition, and stable internet, while the other struggle with limited resources and poor connectivity. Will both of them have the same chance to succeed? This question highlights the reality that education, although often seen as a pathway to success, does not always provide equal opportunity for all individuals. A very good day I bid to Madam and my fellow classmates. Today, I would like to discuss the effect of current educational change on student social mobility. In the 21st century, education has become one of the most powerful mechanisms influencing social mobility as it determines individual access to opportunity, resources, and socio-economic advancement. Social mobility refers to the movement of individual or group within the social hierarchy, either upward or downward, depending on their access to education, skill, and employment opportunity. In a recent year, rapid educational change driven by globalization, technological advancement, and policy reform have significantly transformed the role of education in shaping social mobility. These changes include the shift towards student-centered learning, the integration of digital technology, and the emphasis on holistic development and 21st century skills such as critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving. According to the World Economic Forum 2023, future labor market increasingly demand advanced cognitive and digital skills, making education a key determinant of an individual's ability to move upward in society. Similarly, UNESCO 2022 highlights that equitable access to quality education is essential in reducing social inequality and promoting inclusive growth. However, while current educational change create new opportunity for students to improve their social position, they also introduce challenges such as inequality in access, school stratification, and the digital divide. This issue may limit the effectiveness of education as a tool for social mobility, particularly for students from disadvantaged backgrounds. Therefore, it is essential to critically examine both the positive and negative effect of social mobility on education, as well as the impact of contemporary educational change, in order to understand whether education truly functions as a pathway for social advancement or continue to reproduce existing social inequality. Following this, one of the key positive effects of social mobility on education is the development of healthy competition among students. In today's education system, competition is no longer limited to academic achievement alone, but has expanded to include technical skill, creativity, and problem-solving abilities. This shift reflects current educational change that emphasizes 21st century competencies as the need to prepare students for a rapidly evolving workforce. As education becomes a major pathway for improving social status, students are increasingly motivated to perform better in order to secure future opportunities. Healthy competition encourages students to actively engage in learning, develop their skill, and strive for continuous improvement. For example, students are now involved in various academic, technological, and co-curricular activities that allow them to showcase their talent beyond examination. According to BOE 2022, the integration of digital technology in education enhances the student engagement and create interactive learning environment that promote active participation and competition. This not only improves academic performance but also equips students with skills that are highly valued in the labor market. Furthermore, competition driven by social mobility pushes students to become more goal-oriented and resilient. When students recognize that education can improve their socio-economic status, they are more likely to invest effort in their learning. This aligns with the demands of modern education, where individuals must continuously upgrade their skills to remain competitive. As a result, healthy competition plays an important role in preparing students for a future challenge and increase their chance of achieving upward social mobility. Another important positive effect of social mobility on education is the improvement in academic standards. As education becomes a key pathway for achieving upward social mobility, there is a growing emphasis on academic excellence among students, parents, and institutions. This increased awareness motivates students to perform better in their studies, in their studies, as academic success is often associated with better opportunity for higher education and employment. At the same time, education systems have undergone significant reform to improve curriculum quality, teacher practices, and assessment methods, which contribute to higher academic standards. In education, current educational change emphasizes not only knowledge acquisition but also higher order thinking skills such as analysis, evaluation, and problem solving. This shift ensures that students are not only academically competent but also capable of applying their knowledge in real-life situations. According to Riordan 2021, improvement in academic achievement are closely linked to better socio-academic outcome, as students with higher educational attainment are more likely to access quality jobs and stable incomes. This demonstrates how stronger academic standards can directly support upward social mobility. Furthermore, the expansion of educational access and the democratization of education have contributed to the raising overall academic performance. More students, including those from disadvantaged backgrounds, now have the opportunity to pursue education at higher level. This creates a more competitive and dynamic learning environment where institutions strive to maintain high standards to meet national and global expectations. Another significant positive effect of social mobility on education is the expansion of more open educational opportunities. In today's education system, opportunities are no longer limited to traditional academic pathways but have expanded to include technical, vocational, and skill-based education. This reflects current educational change that aim to develop diverse talent and prepare students for a wide range of careers. As a result, students from different backgrounds are given greater flexibility to pursue education according to their interests and ability, which enhance their chance of improving their social status. In the Malaysian context, initiatives under the Malaysia Education Blueprint (PPM) have played a crucial role in widening access to quality education. The blueprint emphasizes equity and inclusivity by ensuring that all students, regardless of socio-economic background or geographical location, have access to quality learning opportunity. For example, efforts to improve rural schools, provide financial assistance, and expand technical and vocational education pathways have enabled more students to continue their education and develop relevant skills for the workforce. Moreover, the integration of digital technology and online learning platforms has further expanded educational access. Students are now able to learn beyond the classroom through digital resources, virtual learning environment, and global knowledge network. According to Mahabharata 2024, digital tools and AI-based learning platforms provide personalized learning experience that can support students with different learning needs, thereby increasing inclusivity in education. This is particularly important for students who may not have access to traditional form of academic support. Additionally, educational opportunities today are more aligned with global labor market demand. Education systems increasingly emphasize entrepreneurship, innovation, and adaptability, enabling students to explore multiple career pathways. This often allows individuals to move beyond the limitation of their social background and achieve upward social mobility through education. Another important positive effect of social mobility on education is the enhancement of social integration. Education plays a crucial role in bringing together students from diverse ethnic, cultural, and socio-economic backgrounds, creating opportunity for interaction, understanding, and cooperation. As social mobility increases, individuals from different social classes gain access to similar educational space, which help to reduce social barriers and promote equality. This interaction is essential in fostering mutual respect and unity within a diverse society. In the context of contemporary educational change, there is strong emphasis on inclusivity and national identity. Educational policies and reform aim to ensure that all students, regardless of their background, learn in a shared environment that promote common values and social cohesion. For example, initiatives under the Malaysia Educational Blueprint highlight the importance of unity, bilingual proficiency, and shared national identity among students. This element encourages students to appreciate diversity while developing a sense of belonging within the nation. Furthermore, inclusive education and collaborative learning approach have strengthened social integration in school. Students are often engaged in group work, discussion, and project-based activity that require cooperation and communication. According to UNESCO 2022, inclusive education system that promote interaction among diverse groups can reduce social inequalities and improve social cohesion. Through these experiences, students learn to respect different perspectives and work effectively with others, which are essential skills for both personal and professional life. Additionally, a positive school environment further supports social integration. When schools provide a safe, supportive, and inclusive atmosphere, students are more likely to develop strong relationships and a sense of community. This contributes not only academic success, but also to the development of social skills that are important for functioning in diverse society. Moving on to the negative effect, one of the most significant impacts of social mobility on education is the emotional and psychological effects experienced by students. As education increasingly becomes a key pathway for achieving higher social status, students are often placed under intense pressure to perform well academically and compete with their peers. This pressure can lead to a feeling of stress, anxiety, and fear of failure, particularly among students who perceive themselves as unable to meet expectations. In a highly competitive educational environment, success is often closely linked to social mobility, which creates a strong sense of urgency and emotional strain among learners. Empirical evidence strongly supports this issue. According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development 2021, a large proportion of students across participating countries report experiencing academic anxiety, particularly in systems that emphasize high performance and comparison. Similarly, research found that academic stress is significantly associated with increased level of depression, anxiety, and burnout among students, which can negatively affect both academic outcomes and overall well-being. In addition, a study by Suldo et al. 2021 highlighted that excessive academic pressure can reduce student life satisfaction and engagement in learning, ultimately limiting their academic potential. Moreover, students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds often experience greater psychological pressure due to additional challenges such as limited resources and higher expectations to succeed through education. According to UNESCO 2022, students facing educational inequality are more vulnerable to stress and emotional difficulty, especially when they struggle to access the same opportunity as their peers. This unequal pressure can further widen achievement gaps and hinder social mobility. Furthermore, the culture of comparison in competitive education system can lead to feeling of inadequacy and low self-esteem. Students who constantly compare their performance with others may feel discouraged if they are unable to meet expectations. Research by the World Health Organization 2021 indicate that academic-related stress is a major contributor to mental health issues among adults, affecting their confidence, motivation, and long-term development. In addition, the increasing use of digital learning environment can also contribute to psychological stress. While technology provides new opportunity, it may create pressure for students to constantly perform, stay connected, and manage self-directed learning. According to Lee and Lalani 2020, the shift toward the online learning has intensified feeling of isolation and stress among students, particularly those who lack support system. Therefore, although education aims to promote social mobility, the emotional and psychological burden associated with competition and inequality can act as a barrier to student success. This highlights the importance of creating a supportive learning environment, providing mental health support, and ensure that educational system balance achievement with students' well-being. Another major and negative effect of social mobility on education is school stratification. School stratification refers to the unequal distribution of resources, facility, and opportunity among different types of schools. In many education systems, there is a clear distinction between elite school, boarding school, and well-funded institutions compared to ordinary or under-resourced schools. This creates an imbalance in the quality of education received by students, which directly affect their academic performance and future opportunities. In the Malaysian context, the existence of high-performing schools such as MRSM, SBP, and international school often provide students with better infrastructure, experienced teachers, and a wider exposure to academic and co-curricular opportunity. In contrast, many rural or underfunded schools may lack basic facility, teaching resource, and access to technology. As a result, students in privileged schools are more likely to achieve higher academic success and secure better educational pathway, while those in disadvantaged schools face greater challenge in competing on the same level. Research supports this inequality. According to the World Bank 2022, disparity in school resource and learning environment significantly influence student achievement and long-term economic outcome. Similarly, according to research, report that students in advantaged schools consistently outperform those in disadvantaged schools due to difference in access to quality teaching and learning support. This indicates that school stratification reinforces existing social inequality rather than reducing them. Furthermore, school stratification can also lead to unequal treatment within the education system. Students from higher socioeconomic backgrounds may receive more attention, support, and encouragement, while those from lower income families may be overlooked. This can negatively affect student confidence, motivation, and overall learning experience. Over time, these differences accumulate and create a cycle where privileged students continue to succeed while disadvantaged students struggle to improve their social position. In addition, stratification may also create social division among students. Differences in school type can influence language use, behavior, and social identity, which may lead to the feeling of exclusion or inferiority among certain groups. This weakens the role of education as a platform for equality and social integration. Social mobility does not always create harmony within the education system. In some cases, it can lead to the emergence of conflict among students and within society. When education becomes a key pathway to improving social status, it often intensifies comparison between individuals. Students begin to measure their success against others, and then this can create a feeling of dissatisfaction, especially among those who perceive themselves as falling behind. Instead of motivating improvement, this comparison may lead to frustration, resentment, and negative attitude toward peers who are more successful. This issue becomes more complex when differences in socioeconomic background are taken into account. Students from disadvantaged backgrounds may feel that the system is unfair, particularly when they see others achieving success with greater access to resources and support. According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development 2022, educational inequality can increase social tension as students who experience limited opportunity are more likely to feel excluded from the system. This sense of exclusion can weaken trust in education as a fair pathway for success. Conflict may also occur between different social groups within school. Educational environment often bring together students with diverse culture, linguistic, and economic background. While this diversity has the potential to promote integration, it can also create misunderstanding and division if not managed effectively. Research by the UNESCO 2022 highlight that unequal access to education can contribute to social fragmentation, particularly when certain groups consistently outperform others due to structural advantage. In addition, conflict can emerge across generations. Younger generations who benefit from new educational opportunity may adopt different values, attitude, and aspiration compared to older generations. This can lead to disagreement, especially when traditional beliefs clash with modern perspective shaped by education and global exposure. Such generational conflict may influence student decision-making and create tension within families. Furthermore, competitive educational environment can sometimes encourage unhealthy behavior such as undermining peers and prioritizing individual success over collective learning. According to Johnson 2022, according to research, excessive competition in learning environment can reduce cooperation and increase interpersonal conflict among students. This weakens the collaborative nature of education and affect the overall learning experience. From a critical perspective, the emergence of conflict highlights a key limitation of social mobility through education. While education is intended to promote fairness and opportunity, unequal condition can create tension rather than unity. Therefore, it is essential for school and policymakers to foster inclusive environment, promote cooperation over competition, and ensure that all students feel valued and supported. Without this effort, the pursuit of social mobility may lead to a division instead of progress. Another negative effect of social mobility on education is the breakdown of relationships. As individuals experience change in their social status through education, it can lead to shift in attitude, behavior, and social interaction. In some cases, upward social mobility may result in feeling of pride, superiority, or detachment from one original social group, while others may experience jealousy or resentment toward those who have achieved high status. These emotional responses can weaken relationships within families, peer groups, and communities. In the educational context, this breakdown of relationship can affect student learning experience and social development. For example, students who achieve higher academic success may distance themselves from peers who are perceived as less successful, creating social division within the classroom. Conversely, students who feel left behind may develop negative attitude toward their more successful peers, leading to tension and reduced cooperation in group learning activities. Research by Organization Economic Cooperation and Development 2021 stated that disparity in academic achievement can influence student social relationship, where high-performing students often form separate social groups, while lower-performing students may feel excluded. This separation can reduce peer support and collaboration, which are important for effective learning. Furthermore, family relationships may also be affected by social mobility through education. Students who achieve upward mobility may adopt new values, lifestyle, and perspectives that differ from those of their family. According to Friedman 2022, upwardly mobile individuals often experience social distance from their family, which can create tension and feelings of disconnection. This situation can lead to emotional stress as students struggle to balance their new identity with their original social background. In addition, social mobility may lead to change in behaviors such as increased competition, individualism, or even arrogance. This change can negatively affect interpersonal relationships as cooperation and mutual support may be replaced by rivalry and comparison. According to World Health Organization 2021, social pressure and competitive environment can contribute to interpersonal conflict and reduce social well-being among adolescents. Another issue that complicates the relationship between education and social mobility is the leakage of educational and employment opportunities. Although education is often presented as a fair system where success is based on merit, in reality, access to opportunity is not always equally distributed. In many cases, students who come from privileged backgrounds have advantages that go beyond academic ability. They may have better access to information about scholarship, stronger support system, and network that can influence selection processes. As a result, even when students from disadvantaged backgrounds perform equally well, they may still struggle to access the same opportunity. This shows that social mobility is not determined by education alone, but also by underlying social structure. This issue becomes more evident when looking at higher education and employment pathway. Research by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development 2022 demonstrate that students from higher socioeconomic groups are significantly more likely to enter prestigious university and secure high-status jobs. This is not only due to academic performance, but also because of access to guidance, preparation, and social network. Similarly, the World Bank 2022 highlight that unequal access to opportunity remain one of the main barriers to achieving equitable social mobility globally. Another way to understand this issue is through the concept of social capital. Students from advantaged backgrounds often benefit from connections that can open doors to internship, scholarship, and employment opportunity. In contrast, students from less privileged backgrounds may rely solely on formal systems, which are not always sufficient to guarantee equal access. This imbalance creates a hidden layer of inequality within the education system. The consequences of this leakage are not only individual but also societal. When capable students are denied opportunity, it leads to a waste of talent and reduced overall human capital development. More importantly, it challenges the idea that education is a true equalizer. Instead of reducing inequality, the system may unintentionally reinforce it. From an evaluative perspective, this suggests that improving access to education alone is not enough. Equal access to opportunity must also be ensured. Without transparent and fair selection processes, the promise of social mobility through education becomes limited, particularly for students from disadvantaged backgrounds. The idea that technology can make education more accessible is widely accepted. However, in reality, the shift toward digital learning has exposed one of the deepest inequalities in modern education, which is the digital divide. Instead of creating equal opportunity, the integration of technology often benefits students who are already advantaged. Those with personal devices, a stable internet, and supportive learning environment are able to fully participate in digital learning. In contrast, students without these resources are left struggling to keep up, not because of their ability, but because of their circumstance. This shows that access to technology has become a new form of educational inequality. This gap became particularly visible during transition to online learning. Many students were unable to attend virtual classes, complete digital assignments, or communicate effectively with teachers. According to UNESCO 2022, students from low-income and rural backgrounds were disproportionately affected by learning disruption due to limited digital access. As a result, existing achievement gap widened rather than narrow. What makes the digital divide more complex is that it is not only about access to devices, it also involves differences in digital literacy and the ability to use technology effectively. Students who are familiar with digital tools can navigate learning platforms, search for information, and manage independent learning more efficiently. On the other hand, those with limited exposure may feel overwhelmed and disengaged. Research explained that digital inequality exists at multiple levels, including access, skill, and usage, all of which influence student educational outcomes. Education today is no longer the same as it was in the past. It is continuously evolving to meet the demand of a rapidly changing world shaped by globalization, technological advancement, and economic transformation. These changes are not only about improving academic performance, but also about preparing students to function effectively in complex social and professional environments. As a result, contemporary education plays a critical role in shaping students' ability to achieve social mobility. One of the most visible changes in education today is the shift away from traditional, exam-oriented learning toward a more holistic and student-centered approach. Previously, education focused heavily on memorization and academic results. However, current reform emphasizes developing student ability to think critically, solve problems, and apply knowledge in real-life situations. This transformation reflects the need to prepare students not just for examination, but for the challenge of the modern world. In Malaysia, this shift is clearly reflected in the Malaysian Education Blueprint, which highlights the importance of producing well-rounded individuals with strong intellectual, emotional, and social competencies. This means that success in education is no longer measured solely by grade, but also by the ability to adapt, innovate, and collaborate. From a social mobility perspective, this transformation is significant because it broadens the definition of success. Students who may not excel in traditional academic setting now have opportunity to success through different skill and talent, which increase the chance of upward mobility. Rather than focusing on only academic knowledge, modern education places strong emphasis on developing well-rounded individuals with diverse capability. Students today are expected to master not only literacy and numeracy, but also thinking skill, leadership abilities, bilingual proficiency, and strong ethical values. This aspiration reflects the needs for individuals who can function effectively in both local and global contexts. This shift recognizes that success in life is not determined by academic results alone. For instance, leadership and communication skills are highly valued in the workplace, while critical thinking is essential for problem solving. and decision making. According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development 2021, students who develop both cognitive and social emotional skills are more likely to succeed in long-term career. As a result, this aspiration enhances social mobility by equipping students with a broader set of competencies that increase their employability and adaptability. Beyond curriculum and policies, the environment in which students learn also plays a crucial role in shaping educational outcomes. A positive school climate where students feel safe, supported, and respected has a strong influence on both academic performance and personal development. When students are comfortable in their learning environment, they are more likely to participate actively, build a relationship, and develop confidence. On the other hand, a negative or unsupportive environment can limit student potential regardless of their abilities. Research by TAPA ETAL 2021 showed that a positive school climate is closely linked to a higher academic achievement, better student behavior, and improved emotional well-being. In terms of social mobility, school climate is important because it affects how well students are able to take advantage of educational opportunity. Even with access to quality education, students may struggle to succeed if the environment does not support their growth. From an evaluative perspective, it can be argued that education alone is not sufficient to guarantee social mobility. Its effectiveness depends on how inclusive, equitable, and well-implemented educational policies and practices are. If current educational things are supported by equal access to resources, strong support system, and fair opportunity, education can truly serve as a transformative tool for social investment. However, if inequality remains unaddressed, the gap between advantaged and disadvantaged students may continue to widen. Therefore, the key challenge for policymakers and educators is not only to innovate and improve education, but also to ensure that no student is left behind. Only through a balanced and inclusive approach can education fulfill its role as a genuine pathway for social mobility and contribute to a more equitable society. That's all from me. Thank you.